Welcome back to another session on the Caribbean and Latin American news now. Please make sure you like and you share and you subscribe. Now, this afternoon's topic is Operation Southern Spare, the U.S. war on the Caribbean and Latin America. The United States has launched Operation Southern Spare, a massive military and intelligence push stretching across the Caribbean and Latin America. Washington says it's about countering narcotics or narco-terrorists, but when you look closer, the scale of this operation exposes something far bigger. This afternoon, we will break down why the US is expanding its military footprint from Trinidad to Guyana, the link between Southern Spare and America's rivalry with China and Russia, how this operation could reshape CARICOM sovereignty, why Latin America is warning about a new era of US intervention, what this means for regional politics, energy resources, and national security, and whether the Caribbean is becoming the next front line of US power projection. The mainstream media won't touch this, but the consequences will reshape our region for decades, if not forever. So let's begin. Why the US is expanding its military footprint from Trinidad to Guyana. We know that there is a war on Venezuela, and we know that the two countries, Trinidad and Tobago, and also Guyana, sit atop large reserves of oil and gas. So the fact of the matter is that the United States is strategically positioning these two countries to arrest the natural resources of these very important countries in CARICOM and in Latin America. So that's something very important that we understand. Now, the link between Southern Spare and what is Southern Spare? The Axios brought a very interesting story in the other day, which it says Hegseth announces Operation Southern Spare in America's neighborhood. And he says Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth on Thursday announced Operation Southern Spare, which he said will target narco-terrorists and shield our homeland from the drugs that are killing our people. Unquote. This is what Hegseth is saying. It's not entirely clear whether Hegseth has attached a new label to the ongoing U.S. operations near Venezuela and beyond, or whether this is a starting gun for a new expanded mission. I believe it is both. The U.S. is massing warships, including the world's largest aircraft carrier, the USS Gerald R. Ford, in and around the Caribbean. Strikes on alleged drug-running boats have so far killed at least 80 people, and President Trump has made clear he's considering operations on land. And that would be very, very dangerous because we have more people on land than we have on the high seas. Very important that you understand that. So you'll be on a bus or you're on, wherever you are in a car, and let us say that the United States alleges that you are among narco-terrorists, then it can shoot, and that can be deadly. Okay, senior military officials on Wednesday presented Trump with updated options for attacking Venezuela, but no verdict was reached, CBS reported. Southern Spare will be led in part by Southern Command. We know that we have Southcom, which is led by the Southern Command. We have Northcom, we have AFRICOM. Okay, so we have Southern Spare will be led in part by Southern Command, which oversees military action across Central and South America and in the surrounding waters. The head of Southcom Navy Admiral Alvin Halsey is expected to retire in mid-December, roughly 1 year into the job and years ahead of schedule. Halsey was reportedly moving more cautiously than Hegseth wanted. Democrats have raised questions about the legality of the boat strikes. So we are seeing where, the Trump administration is having problems with even some of his personnel in the military who might be against what Trump is doing as they consider it to be illegal. However, the United States military-industrial complex continues unabated and unperturbed, okay, in what it's doing in the Caribbean and Latin American waters. But we know that one of the agendas is to depose, to unseat the presidency of Nicolas Maduro. That is for sure. Operation Southern Spare, one of its primary objectives is to depose and to topple the government of Nicolas Maduro of Venezuela. Now, how this operation could reshape CARICOM sovereignty? That's a very important question. Now, the fact is that not only CARICOM sovereignty, but the sovereignty of the entire region. Now, Pete Hegseth, who is the Secretary of War or the Secretary of Defense, because he's between being called both names, as they are in the process of renaming the Department of Defense as the Department of War. But he is on record of saying that he is here to eliminate the region of drug traffickers because he wants to protect American shores. So he has to protect the region, which is close to American shores, of all narco-terrorists. Now, it means, therefore, that if America becomes the major protector of the Caribbean and Latin American region, that the governments of the region would have lost their mandate and their autonomy, because the United States is the one who will dictate their national security and the agenda for all national security for all of the countries in the region. So hence, I would say that our sovereignty is in danger, right? Our sovereignty is up for grab. Very important that you understand that. And notice that many of our countries, they're screaming, but they can't really say anything. It's like a warthog screaming in the ears of a lion or a lioness, and can't do anything because he's already gripped by the lion, by the strength, the power of the lion or the lioness. Okay? Now, while Latin America is warning about a new era of US intervention, well, America has always been here. But when we see the aggression that she's here now, we're having the largest military asset warship in the region, the USS Gerald R. Ford, it's something of grave concern to all citizens and political leaders and to every concerned citizen in the region, and perhaps also in the United States, because we know that a war is looming. A war is looming, and the United States is brazen in its quest to achieve full spectrum dominance in the region and beyond, and shamelessly doing so. And we have to be on guard. Okay, we have to be on guard. Now, what does this mean for regional politics, energy resources, and national security? A lot. Or regional politics, as we're suggesting, or politicians are not our legitimate leaders, as it were. It seems to me that they have to be US backed, they have to be pawns, they have to be puppets of US hegemonic power, or not, they won't be allowed to govern. Our energy resources are not going to be controlled by us. So if oil is found in Jamaica or the oil in Trinidad and the oil in Guyana, that will not be for the enrichment of its citizens. Already we're hearing coming out of Guyana that the poverty rate is still very high for a country that is growing astronomically. Okay? And that is exporting thousands of barrels of oils per day. Okay? Our national security is on the edge, as Trump can decide who is narco-terrorist, and those people who disagree with him, be they president or prime minister or citizen, can be deemed a narco-terrorist and can be shot at, can be unalived. Very important that we understand that. Now, the Caribbean is now becoming, and the Latin American region is now becoming, or are becoming, the next front line of US power projection. We are now being used as the laboratories, the experimental laboratories in which the United States is going to dominate the region. I would say the Caribbean is first being used, so Trinidad is there and being used. I've warned you about what was happening in Haiti, or what is still happening there, and that it is going to be expanded throughout the entire Caribbean region and Latin America. And we're seeing that now. So those of you who thought that we were distinct from Haiti, and Haiti had a unique history, which it does in some case, in a particular case, but we must understand that we are now suffering a similar crisis of major proportion. And how are we going to get ourselves out of this sort of quagmire? I don't know. because right now the United States is behaving aggressively. And I don't think that even international law, the United Nations, a nation that was created, an organization, a body that was created to stop wars and to negotiate, and a platform in which people could have serious debates, open discussions, is not playing its role. It's not pulling its weight. So we are left on our own with the US, with the mighty US and its military operations ready to conquer. And what are we going to do? More than scream like the warthog. Thank you so much for joining. I hope that you'd like, share, and subscribe. Like the videos of the video can be shared with as many people on the platform. Thank you so much.